Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Vicky Umifolaji, your host of Vicky O Show, the Nigeria we want. Sorry, we're a little bit late this evening. There is a technical issue on the other side. So we want to welcome you all, our viewers and our panelists. They're all in the green room. We'll bring them on shortly. Yeah.
LC the beat guy.
Hi, everyone.
Submit the comment. I've received the second one now. I have 20 over 40. From the very first line of comment,
Dr. Olusa. Okay, yep. Hi, everyone. Hello, how are you? Wale, Mr. Elvis, Dr. Olusa, how are you all? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I'm well, thanks, Vicky. Hi, Wale, Dr. Lisa, trust you're doing well. Good evening, viewers. Yeah, nice to catch up again this weekend.
Yes, it's lovely. It's always lovely to come back and, talk about what's going on in our world and also in Nigeria, most of all. So, welcome to you, Dr. Aki Olusa. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Yeah, you're welcome to
Nice
the
to see you.
Nigeria.
Welcome to the show. Yeah.
Always good to see you all. So Wale, how's it been for you? The fifth lockdown, number 5 for all of us.
Yeah, lockdown 5.0. Yeah.
Yes.
We're doing well. So just adjusting to that reality that the virus is here to stay with us. So we try our best to keep it safe. We encourage people to get their recommended vaccination depending on their age group.
Have you had yours?
I have had one. And
how about you, Elvis? Have you had yours?
I don't want to jump the queue. I'm still on the queue.
That's Lisa, have you had yours?
I don't want to jump the queue.
I've tried. I've attempted 4 times. I actually drove all the way to Royal Melbourne Hospital because I had a booking and I drove down heavy traffic and I got there. They still couldn't give it to me. So
look, let me correct an impression. I've never jumped any queue. I was due for it by the nature of my job and I got one. So I just have to put that on record. So there wasn't any queue.
It's not an assertion. We're on the queue. It's not an assertion. that you jumped the queue. It can only mean that you were on the queue before us.
Yeah, look, I just wanted to make clarification. I just have to make clarification that there wasn't any queue jumping. I was on the queue and I got it due to the nature of my job. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's what we all need to do. But of course, I tried. They still haven't been able to give it to me. So I don't know what's going on. The universe is kind of looking after me. So now, Dr. Olusa, what we tend to do is we go around and talk about, we used to call it our update, but now we've changed the words around that. We now call it what is trending. So out of all the stories you've heard during the week, what is trending for you? What are the ones that is kind of out there that you just kept seeing, whether you like it or not? So I'll start with Elvis, then Wale, then Dr. Olusa. So Elvis, if he's still here, it seems as if he's frozen. His cup is frozen. So Wale, can you start on what is trending?
Yeah, I think what's trending for me is there's 6.5 billion naira that has been around. Some media outlets reported it as 6.25 billion naira that was approved by President Muhammadu Buhari for the establishment of ranching program in his home state of Katsina. So I think that news broke, as far as I know, that was yesterday. The news broke about, President Buhari approving 6.5. In some media, they reported 6.25 billion to Katsina to start the ranching program. And out of that, approved money, 5 billion naira has already been paid to Kaduna government. So a couple of points there. The president has been accused of being, in terms of his nepotism and everything. So to think that even it's a good gesture that what is done, but to think that he actually starts from his home states is still a topic of discussion. One. And secondly, Governor of Benue, Governor Otom, has described that as hypocrisy on the part of President Buhari, hypocrisy on the part that the government is still talking about open grazing in some part of the country. But while that is going on, the same president approved a sum of 6.5 billion for the ranching program, which, of course, many have been clamoring for that as the solution to some of the problems with, the Fulani herdsmen. So I believe we still have a lot to learn or to become aware of in terms of that, particular news. But for now, that is what is trending for me.
Thank you, Wale. Thank you so much. That's 6-point-something billion. That is only for one state, not for the whole country, is it?
Just for his home state of Katsina.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Now, Mr. Elvis, your turn. What is trending?
Oh yeah, I bumped into the news of the passing away of Sound Sultan. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's he was a musician in Nigeria, and I understand he was sick and traveled to the US to get medical help. As we all know, that's the big thing for those who can afford it, and that's another failure of government. Our healthcare system is nothing to write home about. People are in a situation where if they fall sick and they can afford it, they need to travel overseas to get medical assistance. Now, Sound Sultan passed away last week, and he's been buried according to Muslim rites, Islamic rites, in faraway US. An unfortunate scenario, and May his soul continue to rest in peace, and may the good Lord grant his family fortitude to bear the irreparable loss. Now, that's on one
Amen.
end. I also came across the news of Jacob Zuma, the former president of South Africa, being sent to jail for, I think it's 15 months, 15 or 16 months, for failure to appear in court, to give evidence. So that's a good place. People should start, no matter how highly placed you are, the lesson to take from this is, things are beginning to change. If someone in that space could be sent to jail, though it's come with a lot of backlash as well. People have been protesting and looting shops and destroying things around his hometown. But it's a good place for us to start, realizing that it's not going to be business as usual forever. Yeah, and it's a good place for our leaders back home to learn as well.
Thank you, Elvis. Now, Dr. Akiolu, sir, any update or what's trending for you?
Well, for me, I think I'll be the pessimist here because for some times now, I think Wale is familiar with my position. I've stopped listening to news from Nigeria because just like Baba Shoyinka said, it's not good for my mental health. So I've stopped that a long time. Once in a while, I stumble on the headlines like the death of Sam Sultan and this crazy policy on grazing and ranching and whatever. What is the business of government, especially the federal government, with private entity or what's supposed to be a private entity? Cattle production, it's a business entity in the hands of the private sector. Why should that be the national discussion? I mean, it's just crazy. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm sorry to maybe bust your bubble. I don't see the Nigeria we want. It's long dead, and I don't think it can come back. And that's why, you see, if a nation of over 100 years, now 107 years, out of which over 60 of that, more than half of that, that nation has lived in independence and is still not the kind of nation we want, then forget it. Because the lifetime of a generation has passed. And the hope that was given to our father's father, that our father's father passed to our fathers, and our fathers passed to us, is it that same fake promise you want me to pass to my own children? So I've stopped listening to news in Nigeria. What I'm waiting for is for new nations, new identities to begin to rise up from the ashes of these failed states that we still romancing called Nigeria. I know it's very painful. That's where we were born, where we knew as home and all that. But I'm a very realistic optimist, and I'm a pragmatic person. I don't see what good can come of the Nazareth of Nigeria. So I have no update because I don't follow the news. I'm not even on social media. I'm not active on social media again. All my kind of take it off my plate. I have other things that are taking my attention to be worrying myself over what is happening in Nigeria. Yes, I wanted to be the governor of Ondo State, and I'm still going to be the governor of Ondo State, but most likely maybe under a new nation, maybe Southern Nigeria, whatever, if the Biafran and the Yoruba nation and the T want to come together. Because very soon, I believe that the map of Africa is going to be completely redrawn. Because the 13 hardcore northern states that actually want Sharia, that promulgated Sharia. You see, at the promulgation of Sharia law, that was when Nigeria died. because you cannot have a secular state. At least by the 1999 constitution, Nigeria was supposed to be a secular state. And a group of northern governors took a position that took them out of that contraction, out of that legal document that bind us together. So that was actually the death or the beginning of the death of Nigerian state. But we didn't take it serious. Many people didn't read the sign on the wall then. And now you have these terrorists everywhere, killing people, maiming people. You cannot use the same military intelligence you used to catch Nnamdi Azikiwe and Nnamdi Kanu. You cannot use the same intelligence that you used to raid Igbo's house on the bandit. But you can do this on people who are asking for self-determination. Does that show seriousness? Does that show credibility? Come on, Faith. I like what this show is all about, but let's be factual. I'm a very realistic person. Nothing, even nothing, as far as I'm concerned, can come out of this dead state. Believing in Nigeria, to keep believing in Nigeria is like romancing a corpse, hoping that if I keep the corpse warm, it will somehow come to life by way of miracle. No. Once something is dead, forget it. Move on. That's my position. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And yes, here on the Nigeria We Want, we appreciate everybody's thought and ideas, and is an open place where we can just talk about how things are and how we want it to be. Yes, your stand is appreciated, but at the end of the day, we all are here and we all have children. All of us here, the four of us here right now, we have children. And we know how difficult it is for those children when it comes to identity. My kids struggled with it. I named my daughters. The first one, her name is Oluwashinayo. And I gave her Jennifer as the English name. And she was being called Jennifer from kindergarten. This young girl got to grade 5 and she said, I want to be known as Oluwashinayo. Not Shina. Not Oluwashina, Oluwashinayo. Being the only Black girl in that school for so many years, she chose to identify with a background. There's something in us that we tend to miss because yes, we lived our life and yes, we ran away and we may be thinking that yes, that is it. We're okay. But it will come to a stage that those kids will come to you and say, Dad, why now? Your grandchildren will come to you and say, Dad, why now? You have to start explaining yourself. But I know that if we all keep thinking and keep getting angry about the situation and we're not doing anything, the place remains the same. It's like we're joining those who are hurting the place. That's just my own thinking process about it. For me, right now, my mom and dad, they're not there anymore. My siblings are not there. I've got no ties to Nigeria as it is. There's nothing to motivate me to go back. But I kept thinking about my kids and I kept thinking about some comments from time to time from them. And I know there will be a day, just like the Black Americans. I have a friend who is a Black American. She was born there, but she had this in-depth, she just wanted to belong to a place. And she adopted Ghana. Right now, she's in Ghana. Right now, she's building a house for herself in Ghana. No ties to Ghana, but she needed to call our place our home, our own foundation, and create something for our own children. And she chose. We have somewhere to call our own. It's unfortunate that we have all these leaders, but at the end of the day, those leaders, they are from us. They are not from it. They are not aliens. They don't have 10 heads. They are from within us. What happened and what do we need to do to fix what these problems are? That's what this is all about. Yes, sometimes it may be like a waste of time. Sometimes it may be, oh, what are we doing this, But I believe that even God started creating this world with his words. Words are so powerful. So, in addition, this is a place where we just let it out. We just let it out rather than bottling it up and just, we just come here and say it as it is. So, for me, when we talk about what is trending, there are a couple of things for me. We talk about having Yoruba Nation. And we have this one woman. I really don't know much about her, but I just heard this week about the commotion that she's been causing on social media space. And I think they call her Yaiwe. They also call her
Okay.
Esabod. I'm not sure if Elvis know this woman.
Esabod. I know Esabod don't go everywhere.
Everywhere, bringing this person, using the head, and even the kings, there's nobody that she doesn't even go and mess up. And I mean, we're talking about Yoruba Nation. She is the one, one woman that she's just one person this week that just kept coming up wherever you look on social media space. And it's just with the stuff that comes out of our mouth, it's so, for me to see some people supporting this woman, it just blew me away. Young people.
Just like some people still support Buhari. Don't you get blown away?
Exactly. But
so, you see, I'm sorry to cut you in. You see, we need to understand that, look, the quest for Biafra, the quest for Yoruba Nation, and it's not just Biafra and Yoruba Nation that are asking for self-determination. The middle belters, the Tiv, the Jokum, the Billy Kunino, all those people, they are equally, they are all come together now. You see, there is nothing you want to say that you will not have at least one person that will believe your message. The Yoruba will say, no matter how worse it go be, you go find one person will go like you. So forget about some of those noise makers like Esabod, some people. That is not the core of the matter. You have some people at the background who are working at the diplomatic level for the actualization of Biafra, Ududua, and whatever. But there are some people that we need to keep that noise on. That is, they are doing their own little contribution. There are some people that their own is on the diplomatic level. There are some people that their own is in intellect. There are some people their own is in the area of warfare, arms, and so don't worry about those noise. Some people say, "Oh, Sunday Igboho is an illiterate, and Kanu is too arrogant. How can that be the representative of Biafra? How can Sunday Igboho say, okay, if Sunday Igboho is an illiterate, what of Professor Akintoye, that is a professor emeritus, a former senator? He has been in the US for so long and all that. You are not saying credible people. People that have substance don't make noise. It's empty barrels that make noise. Leave those empty barrels on social media to keep making noise. It's part of the fanfare, but that is not all there is to it. Sorry, I don't know. floating something on the water. There's something beneath that is actually propping it up. So don't worry about people like it's a board of people who make such kind of noise and things like that. You need some of them sometimes to be part of the benchwarmer touch make it's expected in any society. So that should be
See, Dr. Lisa, why I brought that in. Normally, I don't like going to such people for anything, or but I just believe when you see calibers of people supporting her, commenting on her stuff, Yahweh, Shidada, with all the jargons that comes out of her mouth, it just kind of drives me nuts that you expect people the way we were all raised, during those times in Nigeria, that there are things you don't even come out and say in public and stuff like that. But when this one woman opens her mouth and there are people hailing her, isn't that saying about our Nigeria, our own people? And yes, we are pointing finger to the government. Now we won't stop pointing fingers to the government. But remember, these people came from amongst us. And if someone can be there saying, Mama, Mama, you done well, Mama, 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 you done well, isn't that saying a lot about us? Because the Nigeria we want is all about my contribution to how things are, your contribution about how things are, Wale's contribution. Everybody individually, what are we doing? Okay, so I think we'll just get started with today's show. Wale, back to you.
Thank you, and that was a brilliant, kind of setting the stage for the program. There's a documentary on Netflix. It's called Social Dilemma. You can have a look. It's on Netflix. It speaks around this topic, around the polarization that we have on social media. And you see that no matter your opinion, unfortunately, no matter the opinion, you will see people that really believe that, well-educated people and what have you, even in the most advanced countries. Some people there are still conspiracy theories about 9/11, that people that are even well-educated, they believe that the whole thing was, so, and that is just the age of internet and that we are. So getting straight to the point, tonight we're discussing, credibility and leadership. That's what we're really talking about tonight. And the first thing is that, just as an opener, why will anybody follow you? This is a simple question you should ask if you want to lead. We have a lot of perennial failures, parading themselves as leaders in Nigeria. I'm not sure whether they've asked themselves that very simple question: why will anybody follow them? Are they really honest? Are they even competent? Are they inspirational, or are they forward-looking in whatever form we want to even look at it? But from time to time, you see these people, coming out to, to provide, leadership, or to provide themselves as leaders. So, to join us to discuss this topic, despite Dr. Luza's view that you expressed, we're happy for that view. This is the kind of program where we embrace any form of intellectual kind of discourse, and we're happy for him to express his views about the way he feels about Nigeria, and what he feels about even romancing, as he put it, romancing a corpse. So we're happy to we expand more in the course of this program. Just for our viewers, Dr. Akinolusa, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine at University of Ibadan, and he did his PhD in veterinary medicine at the prestigious University of Melbourne here in Australia, and is the director of and founder of Coalition for Good Governance in Africa. So formally, you're welcome to the program, Dr. Olusa.
Thank you so much, brother.
Okay, so we take it up from there. So let's get to the issue of our main topic. I will start with you, and I just want you to answer this as general as possible, as far as you can, in terms of, in your own different way as an academic, as a businessman, in whatever form, you know what it takes to be a leader. And so my first question is this. What is your understanding of the nexus between credibility and leadership? What is the converging point of, being a credible person and be a leader, if there's any nexus between the two?
Of course, there is a connection between the two. But to say, I would like to give what I call my simple understanding or definition of leadership and credibility. Because without one, the other doesn't exist. See, when you say you are leading or you're in a position of leadership, to me, it basically means you're in a position to have influence on others. Leadership is just influence. If I'm to pick another word to replace leadership, I'll say influence. And now, leadership to me, it's first about understanding who you are, your ability to lead yourself. In fact, if I'm to put leadership in percentage, I would say leadership is 40% leading yourself. You have to understand who you are, your vision, your direction for life, and things like that. So 30% will be leading your superiors, those who are above you intellectually, financially, emotionally, in all aspects. And 20% will be leading your contemporaries, those who are the same spectrum of social cadre with you, influence, affluence, and all that. And it's just 10% that has to do with lower followership, those who are beneath you, those who you are better than them, sort of in the social class. Now, if you are not credible to yourself, if you cannot believe yourself, because credibility is just being able to believe. If you say somebody is credible, that means that person is believable, is convincing, is trustworthy, is all that. So if you are not truthful to yourself, if you are not credible to yourself, there's no way you can lead yourself, let alone lead your superiors, let alone lead your contemporaries or those who are your inferiors in the context of superior versus inferiors. So that connection, that nexus between being credible and being able to lead, it's where the problem always exists, especially in the African context that we are talking about. Look at someone once said that one of the greatest tragedy of Africa is having people in power who have no ideas and having those who have no ideas not having power. Look at what is happening in Nigeria. There's none of our current political leaders, even more than 75% of our traditional leaders, have all lost their credibility. You can't believe them. Their followers just hail them because of what they want to get from them, not because they have done anything significant to contribute to the security of the community they lead, or the nation they lead, or the economy they lead, or the social development of the places they lead. So there's no credibility anywhere in terms of our leadership. So we must start looking to the future where we can begin to create or raise new sets of both leadership and followership. And I don't want to be the pessimist here. I just don't see us as if we have not even woken from our slumber, let alone being on the road of consciously cultivating those traits, those things that will give us a little hope about the future of raising credible leaders or being able to bring that together. Because without leadership, there's not going to be development. There's not going to be progress. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lusa, for that. Being able to, I guess, define or conceptualize, the two terms in terms of leadership and credibility and the link. And be free as much as possible to be pessimistic. Be free as much as possible to have divergent views. I believe that we have many people that listen to this or watch this program for those divergent views. Personally, I just don't believe in having a monologue. I believe in having different form of ideas. So let's continue to have a beautiful discussion. So I will go to Elvis now. So I'm just trying to take it a step further. So I'm just trying to say, what's your take in terms of credibility in political leadership, and the same token on business leadership? Do you think they're the same? Do you think they are the same, or do you think there are differences in terms of political leadership and business leadership, and also as it revolves around credibility? What is your take on that, Elvis?
Wally, I would say the constructs and the ecosystems are totally different. The leadership skills required to drive each one of them is different. A nation, states, or the likes are not businesses. To lead a nation, you must be compassionate. To be in a leadership position, you need to be compassionate and care for the people's well-being. And you must also be prepared to balance the complexity of international relations, with a lot of other, issues, economic issues, that, social issues, the provision of infrastructure and all of that you need to undertake. A leader is elected into position of authority, whereas one who's running a business, depending on your position in that business, is usually hired, based on your skills, your expertise, and your knowledge in that area of endeavor. So, in my view, being a leader in business is quite different from being a leader in the political space or the likes. They are two different things altogether. I can't hear you.
And that's a beautiful distinction, but can you still draw any parallel between the two? I agree with you in terms of the compassion or the compassion side of it. I don't think most business boards, when they meet, I don't think they're so being compassionate, even though they can have some of their social enterprises, what have you. But I think the primary objective of any business is profit maximization, and that most time doesn't really go well with most of these things you're talking about compassion. So can we then, by extension, have credible people in business transforming into leadership position on a political scale? Are there skills that are transferable from that sector to kind of political leadership?
Oh yeah, of course there are skills that be transferable. Credibility is certain examples and leading by those examples as well. So, if you've been in the business environment and you've done well in that area, there's a chance you, as a leader, you can also transfer the skills you have learned from that space to, your new environment as someone who is in a political, leadership space. Credibility is when a leader shows how deeply committed they are to their values, especially when those values are shared by their followers. So if you're coming from a space where you've done well, you're credible, and and that's how you sell yourself to the people or your followers. They are looking up to you to actually bring that to the table and implement those qualities of leadership that you have, credibility being one of them. So yeah, if you're credible, if you've been credible in the business space, I also think depending on where you are, within the Nigerian setting, for example, I know Dr. Lisa has spoken about how pessimistic he is, or how he has lost faith in the system, back home, and rightly so too. I wouldn't say I blame him for his position. He's entitled to it, but you're looking at a system where even if you're credible and you come with all the knowledge in this world, and you're dealing with, as he said, I'll put it, he said 70% of the people are not, credible for our leaders, even traditional leaders. I'll even put it at a higher number. You come into that space, of course, you're going to be influenced by those who lack that credibility that you are coming in with. So yes, you can transfer those skills, but the bigger problem is that space you're going into. Are you actually going to be able to, bring those good ideas, those good traits that you've learned from? I mean, I'm looking at the downside now. You brought from the business background. Are you going to actually be in an environment where you can actually, make good use of those qualities that you have? When you have a place where a very large percentage of the individuals around you are not credible, it becomes questionable whether you're actually able to, operate in an environment of credibility or being credible yourself.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that, Elvis. So I will go to Dr. Vicky now. So we was talking about credibility. There's a Professor Barry Posner. Is an American professor of leadership, and he says something, very straight to the point. People will not believe the message if they don't believe in the messenger. So what is your take on this? And I mean, in the context of the political leadership in Nigeria, and now often people will say something at 9 o'clock, and by 10 o'clock, it's a different ball game completely. Or maybe you're even lucky to get to 10 o'clock before they change, before they get that story. So Professor Barry, Posner, put it very succinctly, people will not believe the message if they don't believe in the messenger. What do you think about? And what do you think? Is that really, in terms of the application to what we do in Nigeria?
At the end of the day, we need to look at those people that are there giving us these messages. For us to believe the messages, what comes out from their mouth? Do we know them? Do we really believe? Because credibility comes with you presenting, some things and you standing up for the truth. So if there is a way that we are doubting you, and all along with APC, when they got there, I mean, we're talking about the government of the day. Yep. When they first got there, we have this this false belief that things will change for the better. I don't think they lasted for a week. Lai Mohammed will come up and say things that are obviously so clearly untrue. I mean, even kids knows that what's wrong with this guy, and consistently for the last how many years now, it's the same story. It's the same story. And somebody that I interviewed on my show a while back talked about something to do with fallacy. I'm so sorry, I can't remember that exact word. That you keep repeating the same thing until it sticks, though it's untrue. And we found that with our orange-egged guy in US, that consistently he kept saying it. By the end of the day, we know he lacks credibility, like Lai Mohammed lacks credibility. Now, people, what Barry said may be true in some other climates, even in our own climate is untrue. Totally untrue. Yes, there are people that still believe in the leader currently, maybe believing in him based on what they are eating or they are getting from him right now. But I did believe in him based on what is coming out of his mouth, that is following through with what he says. Is he doing the right thing by the people? So for me, yes, Barry said it right, but there are some climates that it just doesn't sound true, and Nigeria is one of those places.
Okay, thank you very much. Also, so what my take from that is that what Professor Posner said in some climes is quite reasonable. There are people with all their leaders accountable. If we even use Nigeria, okay, this guy came in 2015. The messenger came with with a message of change in 2015. That was the message he brought in 2015, and we saw what happened with that message of change.
Maybe we should have clarified the what to do with change, because change can be for the better and change can be for the worst.
But
so
Wale,
clarify that
change
from the beginning.
Yeah, but we saw the change, in that field of 4 years.
We see a lot of changes. Come on,
absolutely,
man.
And millions of Nigerians, in their wisdom, 4 years after, they say, okay, look, this time around, the message we taking you to the next level, and they still believe that same messenger. That's just the funny side. I will go to Dr. Olusa again now. So what has changed between you coming out in 2019, 2020, thereabouts, fighting to become the governor of your home state of Ondo State under the AEST political party, to fast forwarding that to 2021 to a man that doesn't even believe in Nigeria. So I want you to take us through, because I know that it's not something you just wake up in one day and then come to that conclusion from. And I've had interaction with you, off this this forum for some few years. So what has changed in terms of you believing in Nigeria and everything, that to the extent that you wanted to be a governor in Nigeria, to now that you are you don't even believe in that entity called Nigeria? What has changed, and what do you learn personally from you trying to entering politics, in that period? What have you learned that you want to share with our viewers, or some of our brothers and sisters in the diaspora that might want to embark on similar journey?
Okay, let me put it this way. Nothing has changed much in that context. I still believe in the Nigerian people, because we must make a clear distinction. I believe in the African people living in Nigeria. I still believe in the people, but I no longer believe in I don't want to use the popular word in the space, in the contraction or the nationhood of Nigeria. Because let's be frank with ourselves, there has never been an election in Nigeria. That is the truth. We have this charade we call elections, but it only takes you very little close observation to understand that no, these are not elections. The way APC won in 2015 and the repetition of what happened, it wasn't the people that voted. These are clear manipulation. And my experience in active politics is not extensive, but from the little that's close with, I know that it's a joke. What is going on in Nigeria? It's a joke, and just it's an insult on democracy to call what we have in Nigeria democracy. I will rest my case on that. Just to go back to what the earlier conversation on, you have to believe the messenger before you believe the message. It is true everywhere, whether in Nigeria, whether in Australia, whether in anywhere. It's a statement of fact, and you can't say because few people believe in a lie or in fallacy, that statement therefore is no longer untrue. No, like I said much earlier, even if you are saying the obvious lie, you will still have a few people that will believe what you are saying. Maybe because they are eating directly under you or something. I mean, look at Femi Adesina. I'm not a person that hides behind one finger. This guy was a solid guy that will write fantastic articles for Punch and all that, analyzing issues based on facts and figures. Little, he didn't even take him more than 2 weeks after he joined Buhari administration. He started talking as if he just finished smoking Ikale weeds. I mean, it's very disgusting. So it's not because people don't know the truth, but because of what they are eating or the so-called privileged transient position that they occupy at the moment. They sell their soul to the devil and they begin to destroy all the credibility they built over the years. Look at our dear friend, Dr. Abati, Ruben Abati.
Okay, Robin
During the
Abati of
Jonathan
the
administration,
Guardian.
before the administration, he was also a firebrand journalist. I will mention him. I'm not one of those guys that will say I don't want to mention him or something. You have talked about lying Mohammed. What is that grandpa doing, destroying the little credibility has left? To the extent that he came on national television and saying even his grandchildren were asking him, Grandpa, why do people call you lying? Because you're
Lying.
always lying. And unfortunately, again, he lied to that grandchildren, to that grandchild. These are the kind of people we have in that space called Nigeria. And you still want to be romancing that corpse and saying that things will change? I believe in the people. My experience with the Ondo State election process, it wasn't a decision I made so trivially. I thought about it for people that saw my manifesto and for all the people I interacted with, they know that no, this guy knows what he's talking about. I understand how economy works. I understand how the security works with the population, with identity. You see, and if you saw one, all these things are interconnected. And I was saying that look, if you can provide traceable address to everybody living in Ondo State, the issue of crime we reduce. We solve the issue accommodation because some people lives in shackles, shanties that do not even be. When I was in Nigeria, I used to have up to 15 or so many dogs. Where I used to keep my dogs, it's better than where some people live. I still want them to reason and think like normal human beings. It doesn't work that way. You need to create a place of dignity for people. Once people do not have access to dignity, once they have lost their dignity, they don't have, and what is this basic dignity if you don't have access to good shelter, adequate shelter over your health, or you can't pay your basic bills, you can't send your kids to hospitals, you have no access to clean waters, you are losing dignity. So over the years, the people in space have lost that dignity. And one of the things we need to begin to do is to begin to address this thing. And these are things that I spell out clearly in my vision plan, what other people will call manifesto for Ondo State. It's still there in open space. And I explained how those things were going to be achieved. So I believe in I still the people of Ondo State. And if it is the will of God, one day, somehow, it will still happen. But I don't necessarily have to be the governor of Ondo State under this current contraption called Nigeria. If there's a new country or a new nation called Southern Nigeria, just like you have in Sudan, and Southern, I can still be the governor of Ondo State. I wouldn't mind taking visa to go to Kaduna or wherever. We'll still be in ECOWAS, so we don't even need passports to visit Enugu or to visit Maduguri. I won't even need visa, I mean, because we'll still be in ECOWAS. So all this fear of what will happen to this and that, it's not something to entertain. So I still believe in my people. I still believe in my vision. I still have my followership in Ondo State. I still have my network. I still have my foundation in Ondo State. Even though I don't pump much money into it like I used to do, but my structures are still there. And my own people know me and they believe in me. They know my credibility, the way I've taken them through the process. I've tried to do the little we can do in talking to them and try to give them the new perspective of what we need to do, because it's only madness doing this and getting a different result. And when I was actively campaigning, I used to tell my people, because we speak Yoruba, so I was doing a lot of my campaign in the local language. I said, if you want democracy to bear the fruits, the dividend of democracy for us, then we need to practice democracy the way it is being practiced elsewhere. The way democracy is being practiced in Australia, the way democracy is being practiced in the United Kingdom, the way it's being practiced in Germany. Forget about US. US is no longer a good example of democracy. I'm sorry to say, but I believe the US will get its house in order very soon. But at the moment, the division between the left and the right is just crazy, and they are tearing the country apart. And so I wouldn't want to use that as an example, but Australia is a very good example. UK is still a very good example, Germany and all that. So we need to follow good examples, not bad examples. So I still love my people. I'm still actively I won't use the word actively. I'm still very much interested. But at the moment, I do see don't look like late Skibola did at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olusa. And I'm sure that with sit down look approach, sometimes you'll be able to see things, more properly. Sometimes it's just like playing any game. If you're on the sidelines, you came from the sidelines, you can see exactly what's going on better. And when they make you in as a substitute, you won't be surprised you can make a beautiful goal because you've studied the game so long. Hopefully there will still be more opportunities for us, for you to contribute to the development of your people. We'll come back to you later. So I go to Elvis now. So yeah, still talking about credible leadership. Aside from being honest, being competent, forward-looking and inspirational, you've been in leadership position at different levels. What are the other qualities that you expect, for a leader or a credible leader for that to have, apart from those few points that I've highlighted? What should people look for in a credible leader?
Yeah, Wale, look, before I take that, I'd just like to touch on, those comments from Dr. Lisa, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, look, when we started off with credibility, and I mentioned how people, could be coming from a space where they're actually really credible and they have the mindsets to go and deliver service the way it ought to be delivered.
Yep.
Yeah, Dr. Lisa just mentioned a few examples of where my analogy actually has played out, where people are coming from really credible backgrounds. Like he mentioned Ruben Abati, he mentioned Femi Additional, and another one is Festus Keamo. So these are all individuals who, in their private practices and their private spaces, they were really doing well. They're people you would say, were credible, but getting into that space where they're now in positions of authority or have one way or the other linked, themselves into the political space, things begin to change as can be seen in these examples that we mentioned tonight. And then the other question about people believing, people need to believe you first. How did you phrase that question, Wale? People need to believe you before they can follow you. Is that how you phrase it?
Message.
Yeah, people will not believe the message if they don't believe in the messenger.
Yeah, so in what we have, unfortunately, in Nigeria now, transcends beyond all of that. People are not people. Like we've said it. If Dr. Lisa has been following, we've said it severally here. How because our people have been so pauperized, they can't think straight anymore. As you mentioned earlier, even where your 15 dogs used to stay is better than where some individuals, will occupy as their homes. What does that tell you? People are hungry, and like Governor Fayoshe would say, is stomach infrastructure they're interested in, so they can believe anything you tell them as long as you put food on the table, you promise them something they can walk away with, go home with. That's all that the people are actually looking forward to. So it makes it difficult to say, oh, people won't believe you unless they believe your message. These guys don't have any message going out there, to be honest. The messages they have are just on paper. Once they get in there, it's a different ballgame altogether. Now, back to your question, Wale. Yeah, aside from those qualities you mentioned, I ideally think a leader needs to be, needs to be compassionate. You need to have, you need to be a good listener. As a leader, you also need to be proactive, resilient. You need to have influence and positive. Depending on the sort of leadership so in the political space, that's what I think. But in the business space, as a leader, you also need to be self-aware. You need to prioritize personal development and focus on others around you, your subordinates also developing themselves. You need to be able to encourage strategic thinking, innovation, and action. You need to be ethical and civic-minded. These are some of the qualities I think, aside from the ones you mentioned, that as a leader one needs to also have, depending on which side of the divide you find yourself, be it in the business space or whether you're in the political space. So these are qualities that are actually key.
Yeah, thanks, Elvis. And I think it's very important that you touch on the business side, because often we focus on the political side. In some cases, at the detriment of the business business side, because as we know, we have people working in business sectors, a lot of employees in that sector, and there's a lot that people have to go through on that different level of leadership. So, I'm happy that you extended that beyond just the political discussion, but also to the business side. So I'll go to Dr. Vicky now. So let's talk about strength-based approach. Let's try and look into areas of strength, and let's try and see individuals that we know within either political or business sector, like in Nigeria, that are credible. And I just want to put it out there. If you have any one or two, either in Nigeria or maybe in your travels globally doing what you do, can you share with us? Because I want some people to know that it's not all doom and gloom, that there are still leaders out there that are competent, and there are leaders that, in terms of being credible, that are there, and that we can learn from whatever strength we've observed in them, or hoping that many of our viewers, we could learn one or two things. Who knows? Who is watching us, who is going to be a leader somewhere, either 2023 or whatever. So this is just a very open question to you, Dr. Vicky, just to share that with us, looking at it from strength-based approach.
A few years back, I actually put that question to my followers, to people that, looking at Nigeria and those in politics, what can you point to say this person is credible, this person has integrity? And so far, I've been thinking about it all day today. That question has been coming to my mind again and again. And I used to say Fashola was one of them. But yes, he did all that he did until he joined. Until he worked under, and I think he's still working under the present administration. Which makes me to think, is there something wrong with and yes, you want me to answer this question and name one person to say this person is 100%. He has all.
No. Look, I won't ask you to say anyone. No one is 100%. No, so
no one is 100%.
No one is 100%. So we are all human. We have our shortcomings, and so, and I get all that. But I think can you think of anyone, either in Nigeria political sector or even within the business sector in Nigeria? Because we're talking about leadership across the board here. Maybe just your journey of leadership and entrepreneurship or whatever. Feel free to share with us, and what are the qualities that you've seen in that person that made you feel, well, look, this is a credible leader?
As a coach, I've had lovely people, and I still do have lovely people in my life who are great leaders that have all these qualities. When you talk about integrity, credibility, they are honorable. Not well known around the world, but they are getting there. I know of a guy that lives in Sydney here. Is a coach, is my coach. His name is Richmond Dean. Is one of those people that I can point out to say, wow, he's a great leader. He has his own followership of coach. He's a coach of coaches. I actually interviewed him last year for my magazine, The Global Achievers. He graced the cover of the magazine, and this guy is just one great person that I can say, yes, when you're talking about integrity, he's got it. Credibility, he has it. Strength, yes. And when you have all these qualities and you are passing it on, when you are passing it on, you're not just holding on to all that you share with other people. That just makes it more, beautiful for me. Richmond Dean is from Asia. I think it's from Vietnam. Yeah, somewhere there. And he was born in Australia, and he used to be an optometrist. Now he's a full-time coach, coaching coaches. It's just wonderful. Apart from him, you know me to be a straight shooter. There's nobody's perfect, no matter how, but is one person that I can say yes. I love it when people can say, my yes is yes, my no is no. And that's one of the things that just draw me to you, Wale, talking about great leaders. I will consider you to be one of those. Same with Elvis. And those are those things that drew me to you guys to say, yes, I would like to be sitting with you, having this kind of conversations to see what can come out of it. I remember when you were kind of on out there talking nonstop for Buhari to get there. And as soon as you saw the signs on the wall that this guy isn't doing all that he promised, you didn't shy away. You didn't feel like you just have to stay there, despite the fact that you could see that I wasn't doing it right. You came out and say, this is not right. This is not right. That is what I say. That is what I call someone who has integrity. It's not about Ivory himself. It's about, yes, you promised to do this, but we can't see you doing it. Okay, you say you're fighting corruption, but you know what? You have people that are corrupted amongst you, sitting next to you, and you say you're fighting corruption. Meanwhile, those in the other party, you kind of packing them away. What are you doing? And you were able to say, no, this is not right. So great leaders sometimes don't even have to make noise, and it goes into business, all these things. I mean, you asked Elvis before about qualities of great leaders, and he mentioned them all, for them to be compassionate, for them to be proactive, for them to have that positive influence. And all those qualities, they are the things that we look out for. Unfortunately, Wale, I just need to bring this into this discussion because we're talking about credibility and leadership. The way that social media has turned credibility upside down, it has turned people who had none into leaders. I hope I'm getting my point across. Those that have no credibility at all, that now tend to lead people, which is the role of social media. And it goes back to what I was trying to get to earlier on when you asked me a question. Logical fallacies and cognitive biases, they are real. Those two are very real. This thing is black, but because the person that most people were looking up to kept saying it and using the social media, using all platforms to say, yes, it's not black, it is white, even though you can see. Then you start doubting, is something wrong with my eyes? Do I need spectators or what? I know it's white, but because this guy kept saying it is black, it is black, it is black. Then there's something that which is what they use for marketing. Unfortunately, they are now using it. And that's the role of social media these days, which I see as not positive at all. Because if someone have hidden agenda, if someone is evil, it's easy to just rub off on people that have nothing, people that are gullible, people that have got they don't even create time to understand things themselves. And it's going on in churches, it's going on almost everywhere. So great leaders, they are out there, but very hard to come by.
Thank you very much. I think you've answered that question, and sorry to put you on the spot there. But you've covered it very well. I think the most important point, just to recap what you said towards the end, you spoke about logical fallacies. You mentioned cognitive, bias, in terms of how do we have people, as you said, the emergence of leaders, people that maybe in their personal life, they are not even leading themselves nowhere, but they're now leaders. and you see thousands of people sharing their posts and commenting, I see a lot of that as some of the entertainment. But I still want you at your convenience. Check this, that Netflix series I just mentioned. They call it Social Dilemma. It answers most of this, and I think it centers around the algorithm, the way they set up the algorithm on most of these searches. Some of these top mathematicians and these very smart behavioral scientists, the way they set it up is they know our habits. They know what Wale look out for on Facebook or on Google or whatever, and then they feed me with some of this information. So if they know that I believe in conspiracy theories, it's a matter of time before I begin to see a lot of conspiracy theories coming up. And from there I will link up with more people that believe in my ideas. And then, you just see people losing it. I say, what has really happened to this person? Because you get that over and over again. But I think it's a good. I recommend that. I saw it this weekend. And I really, it's something that I think, well, it answers a lot of questions for me. Time is not really our friend. I go to Dr. Olusa for a last question, and I come back to Elvis to give us his final words. Dr. Olusa, so we've spoken about a lot tonight. We've spoken about, secessionist groups, in Southwest, in the Southeast, and even the Middle Belt. Okay, let's assume that we're still together in 2023. Let's assume that the entity called Nigeria remains until 2023. And we're still having this North and South debate of who becomes the president in 2023. Hypothetically, I know you don't believe in this entity. So what is your take in terms of 2023, in terms of even the Southern governors, their take that the presidency should come back to the South in 2023? Do you believe rotational presidency is the way to go in solving our problems?
No. But you see, we shouldn't sacrifice one of the great misfortune that has bedeviled Nigeria is this thing called federal character, where we sacrifice merit for mere participation. And it starts very early in life, and it makes us to see as if some citizens are better than the other. When you tell a kid from southern Nigeria that he needs to score 380 or 360 to gain admission for medicine, and the kid from the north only need to score 180 or 120 for the same course, you are already creating a systematic bias and confusion in your system. Now, fast forward to when these people becomes adults. They have already seen themselves as more privileged than the other. There are some things I can get away with that this one cannot get away with. Okay, we return to democracy. You said you have unwritten constitution, unwritten agreement that you want to rotate it between the major political parties. Okay, if you have been going by that rotation, south, do your term, take it to the north, come back to the south. There are different segments in the north and the south. By that rotational arrangement, gentleman arrangement, 2023 presidency for the next 8 years should go to the southeast. But now, because the powers that be and the elite doesn't like the Igbos, they are saying, no, we want to keep it. Or if it must go back to the south, it will go back to southwest. Why should it come back to southwest? I'm from southwest. I'm an unbiased Nigerian. It is what has happened over the time that has made me to, we are just joking. And with my little venture into politics that made me interact with some of these senior colleagues and some of these, what do we call, bad politicians. And When a sitting governor tells you that Nigeria is gone, forget it. You know that you that are outside, you know that forget about it. Now, what am I trying to say? 2023, all things being equal, should have gone to, we shouldn't even be happy. You just go to Southeast. Look, about West, he has done his thing. He has done his time. Jonathan is South. He has done it. So the only region in the South that hasn't have it is Southeast. That is where it should go. But we all know that's not going to happen. They not still want to keep it. Or the big boy of Lagos is still dreaming about it. So I don't even want to talk about it, because that is if you go by rotation. But if we're not to go by rotation, let the best man win. May the best man get the job. But can the best man, the best candidate, ever get it in Nigeria? It's not going to happen. That is why I said earlier, what we have in Nigeria is an insult to democracy worldwide. Look at Democratic Index. When I was doing my campaign, I was looking at the Democratic Index, each nation. When you check it, Nigeria is close to, at that time, can't remember again the figure for Nigeria, but it was close to dictatorship on the spectrum of fully democratic, highly participation, and full authoritarian dictatorship. Nigeria is closer to dictatorship than democratic. So there is that would be my take in 2023. If Nigeria still exists, which I doubt, because if you are having the Nigerian army killing Eastern Security Network, saying they are all terrorists, and they are killing them with so much zeal, Nigeria is at war. Why are we deceiving ourselves? And yet this same military cannot go after the bandits and the Boko Haram with the same vigor and precision at which they are killing those in the Southeast. You are doing that, and you still want to end the credibility of the Nigerian people? You still want the Nigerian people to believe in you? No. I'm a Yoruba man. I'm no longer a Nigerian man. Elvis is more of an Igbo man than a Nigerian. You are more of a Nigerian than this thing. Let's stop fooling ourselves with this euphoria of, oh, we still want to patch this thing that this house has collapsed. It's so sad. I'm not saying what I'm saying this evening with joy. No, it's with evidence, because my uncles have died trying to preserve the unity of Nigeria. Some of my people, in fact, not too long ago, I lost a family member in this recent attack in April, where a Nigerian fighter jet struck their own troop. We bear the same surname. He's my cousin. When he's in the military and he was killed, and there is no provision for the widow, the people left behind. And you still want me to believe in the same? Come off it. Let's call this crap off. I am praying every day that new nations, new sensible organization of people or nations, let me just use nations, with meaningful constitution. Because you see, let's be frank about it. If Jesus Christ comes down now to contest in 2023, and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, runs as this vice president, and maybe the saints of old bring Scott Morris of Australia, the lady in New Zealand, Austria, to come and be governors, and you give them the 1999 constitution to operate Nigeria with, they will fail. They will fail. Have you taken your time to the Constitution of Nigeria? I did that extensively when I was campaigning, when I was running. I said, no, this is a joke. In comparison to the 1959 Constitution, there's a wide gap. We can't develop, and we can't. I just don't see it, except if all the theories, if science is no longer science, and if logic, well, Nigeria has defied logic for a long time, but you can't keep defiling logic forever. It will come a time when you have overplay your game, and I think that is what has happened. And it's already in to me. I think it's too late to even retrace ourselves, because even the current administration is not ready to talk about restructuring. Restructuring is just going to be another patchwork. They're not even ready that patchwork to fix it. So where do we go from now? Where do we go from here? Your turn to Israel. That's my humble submission.
Thank you very much, Dr.
It doesn't matter where the presidency comes, but ideally it should come from the southeast.
Thank you. Thanks for that, and accept our deepest condolences on the death of your cousin who died while serving the country. So we pray that the good Lord will look after his widow and the rest of the family. And thanks for sharing that personal, story with us. We have Uche Okonko with us. Thanks for joining us again, Uche. It says there's no room for meritocracy in Nigeria. Of course, no. Thank you, Uche, for joining us. So I'll go to Elvis. Your final words for tonight, and then I will hand over the baton to Dr. Vicky to close the show for tonight. Elvis, your final words.
Thank you, Wale. My final words. I will start by just mentioning a few names. I know you put a question to Vicky the other time, but I'll use this as my final words.
Okay.
In my mind, I've been able to identify not just one, but about 4 people, 2 on each side of the divide, that are actually doing well, that I admire within the Nigerian both business and political spaces. Now, on the business side, you've got Mr. Is he a chief? I don't know his title now, but Cosmos Maduka, that's the CEO of Coscaris. This guy, he has the Coscaris. Yeah, of course you know him. He's a self-made billionaire or millionaire or whatever. He started off with nothing, and we can see where genuinely, due to genuine legitimate efforts, where he's gotten that business to. So I have great respect for that man. I have great admiration for him. He has done well in his space and continues to do so. Now, for one businessman, I mentioned his name tonight. I'm also going to mention one politician that is actually doing well. Don't forget, while I said 4, not 2. So, in the business, on the political side, I have great respect for Senator Abaribe. Senator Abaribe, he's actually been very vocal and speaking to this evil that is going on within, the Nigerian space, albeit softly, but he keeps, he's tenacious. He keeps talking about it. He's not intimidated. He doesn't feel intimidated, but he keeps speaking the truth on a daily basis. He's speaking up for the masses, and I give kudos to that man. I have great respect for him. Keep doing what you're doing. We admire you, even though on social media, as you said, you always find people who are either on this side or on the other side talking down on him, but he's a man I respect and I admire. Another one on the business side is Mike Adenoga of Globalcom?
Globalcom.
Yeah, he's also Globalcom. Yeah, he's a man who has done well, built up his business empire. He created employment for numerous Nigerians, and continues to do well in that space. Again, I have great admiration for him. I have great respect for that man. Keep doing what you're doing, sir. The sky is not your limit, but will be your starting point. And then lastly, I've also got And Uche Okonkwo is also knows this man. I'm going to mention his name, Honorable Emeka Chinedu. I've been trying. I'll bring him on this program one of these days. Even within that political space, this is a man who has done well. In fact, last week he won the. He got an award of excellence for the constituency projects he has delivered within his constituency. He's from Ezinite, and I have a constituency. He's the federal rep representing those areas. I'm aware that he's revamped, you know, a local school with the constituency funds available to him. He's provided them an ambulance. I can't list everything he's done, but he's well admired. He's a guy with a heart of gold, and he has done very well in his space. And yep, I admire Emeka Chinedu. He's a great man. And one of these days, while I'm doing the best I can to get him on the program,
please
he's really done. He's done well and continues to do well. So, but on a final note, my final word, have I given you 4? Is that enough for you, or do you want more?
Yes, please. Yeah, you've given me 4.
Uche Koko actually commented Dr. Peter Obi.
Dr. Peter Obi, yeah, okay. Dr. Peter Obi.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The Peter Obi is another one that's, you know, doing well in that space as well.
Look, I have soft spot for... I have soft spot for the current vice president, and that is just maybe being emotional, being whatever. I have soft spot for, you know, no. You know, I have soft spot.
It's your personal opinion. You are entitled to it.
Yeah.
You know, for me,
of credibility left in him.
For me, if you have credibility, you would not be where things like this are happening. I would have resigned if I were him. I wouldn't stay in a place like that. It's like you are cohabitating with thieves. People don't like people are thieves, and you are living in the same house. Come on. If you are credible, you pack your bag and move to.
Don't go there.
You move to everybody's house.
You see that I didn't attack much. The list that Elvis.
Anyway,
the 4 people on Elvis list. It's not as if they are saints, but
no.
They are still. Come on, no. They are not in the same league with.
Let me tell you why I mentioned those.
Look, I don't think we're going to have Elvis. Okay, I don't think we really have time to look. I don't think we have time to individually defend why you mentioned those names. You are entitled to mention those names for whatever reason.
No, this is not about defending anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, can I say my final words then? Can I finish up with my final words?
And we can be honest that as human, you see our soft spot for people for different reasons. Some will be very personal to you, and we are still allowed to say that you have soft spot for whoever for whatever reason. We should be allowed to really say that's the way we feel. We've been a country whereby we've had issue with Shagari.
Smile at your idea of vice president.
Sorry?
Wale,
Can I say my final words or not?
Yeah, no. I think you said your final. Okay, go ahead and say your final word.
No. That was just an icing on the.
Okay.
Anyway,
okay.
So with my final words is it's going to come in the form of an appeal. I just want to make a passionate appeal to those in position of authority, especially the president. And I'm glad we're able to have this sort of conversations today, Wale. I know when I joined this program at the outset, we had a session where we even received Vicky, I know you got an inbox message advising, don't go too hard, don't speak about. Look, we're not going too hard. We're only speaking about things the way they are. We're not making things up. We're speaking the reality on ground, and we're here for the truth, and we will continue to hammer on the truth. So I'm going to make a passionate appeal while it's gone to Mr. President. and his subordinates to please use the same tenacity, the same force, or the same strength with which Nnamdi Kanu was abducted and brought back to Nigeria. Can he please use this same efforts on the terrorists, on the headsmen, whoever they are, who are causing this mayhem, who are actually the reason for this problem, or for people agitating, they want to go their separate ways, for so much insecurity in the country. These are guys who are actually taking over territories and hoisting their flags. I know in Benue State, they've taken over about 3 local governments. I understand they have blown up all the power stations in that area. That state is in total darkness, and this is a country where we actually have a sitting government. Can the government please use that same efforts to nip these incidences in the bud? Perhaps if that could occur, we might be in a situation where people are now feeling relaxed, or even begin to trust this government, at least at a very minimal level. It's absolutely important. It's absolutely important that the government does something in this regard. If they know they're not tribal, or they're not supporting their own, and they're not egging these guys on to keep doing what they're doing, this is probably a good space. They have shown us they've got the capacity, the strength to nip this sort of situation in the bud. Why aren't they doing it? I'll leave it at that. It's probably a good place for government to step in and do, what they are in a position of authority to do.
While it's gone, probably he's having his battery run out or something. Okay, he's back. But thank you so much, Elvis, for that. Wale, do you have something to say before I took over?
No, I just had last minute kind of technology issue. So yeah, you can close the show, please.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that's been on my mind for a little while is the poverty in our nation that is turning people to beggars, turning them to saying something is red when it is black, just to be able to get some cash out of it. Which is why some people who have no leadership quality, who have nothing to offer, are making themselves to be seen as leaders. And this is something that's been consistent. We've seen cases of people who are able to raise fund for whatever and give it out to people, becomes automatic leaders. Elvis on this show had always talked about the government using pauperizing the people to, for them to be able to dance to the government tune anytime the government wants it. And it's true. Now, it's not just the government, it's ordinary people the people don't even ask where they get the money from anymore. So these people just become automatic leaders. And what are you expecting? So it's quite sad. But at the end of the day, today we've talked about credibility and leadership. One more thing that I've noticed within the last 2 weeks is, as much as, yes, you give people this money and you dash them money and then you do whatever, they turn they turn on 360 degrees when you take a wrong step. And that is something that's been consistent. I've been watching the series of things happening on the social media platforms. But credibility and leadership is all about you. If you've been placed in that role of leadership, making sure your integrity is 100%, close to 100%, as much as you can. being there for other people, being compassionate and showing them that you care, showing them that you listen, and be supportive. I mean, as owners of businesses with people working for me, I have no choice but to be there, to be supportive, and to listen to them. When they raise, there's an issue, I just don't dismiss it. I listen and I provide, solutions. What do we do? Without me even saying, okay, you do this, you do this. What do you think we should do? That is how, even as a small business owner, that's how I do it. When you are now running a country, it's a bigger platform for you to showcase that you can do it. But if you don't know how to do it, you are just occupying space. Come on, move over, and let the person that can do it do it. So I want to appreciate you, Dr. Olusa, for joining us, even though this is not your thing. I remember I can't remember where we met. I think it was at Igbo's, the couples night, and I was having a chat with Oguntade about, coffee mugs, and you say, "Oh, I don't believe in Nigeria anymore. You're wasting your time, you people." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, what a turn from wanting to be the governor to being this. Something must have happened, because you must have believed that you can make some changes, you can do something. Now, for you to now turn to say, I don't believe in that place anymore. Wow. So it's good to have you on the show, and I just hear your view. It's fantastic. We encourage this from time to time, so it's good. Thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your busy time to do this with us. And Elvis, as usual, thank you, my dear brother. God bless you for joining us. Wale, for a good job, well done all of the time. Thank you. And to all our viewers, Uche, thank you so much. Now, Tolu, Felicity, a vibrant young woman that took it upon herself to compose. Not only to compose, she also went into a studio to record a jingle for the Nigeria We Want show. We want to appreciate you again, Tolu, for doing this for us. Beautiful sound, lovely voice, and it just sounds so good. We appreciate you. So we will put it on next week. Next week is our time to just have it out there and use it as a jingle going forward. So we appreciate you, Tolu. Thank you so much for your time and for what you've been doing for the Nigeria We Want since the day you started watching us. She's a great fan. We thank you. So until next Saturday, when we come back with another great topic, you all, have a lovely time. God bless you all. Bye-bye. Bye.
It's LC the beat guy.